welcome. I'm Melinda Kinlami. Tonight, a bitter appeal for Rivers APC as Supreme Court today dashed their hopes of presenting candidates for the 2019 general elections. The president expresses sadness over judgment, tells APC supporters in Port Harcourt to be calm as party will get justice. PDP gathers supporters of the party in Lagos, warns INEC against rigging. An AU summit ends in Ethiopia with a call for more unity in the continent.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's economy beats analyst forecast, records 2.38% growth rate in fourth quarter of 2018, its fastest expansion in 2 years.
And on sports news tonight, 7-time champions Flying Eagles of Nigeria will play for a ticket in the final of the Under-20 AFCON when they face the Junior Eagles of Mali in the semi-final tomorrow.
And from Abuja, danger looms for voters in Anambra as major storage facility housing smart card readers are destroyed by fire.
It's a bitter pill for the Rivers State All Progressive Congress APC as the Supreme Court today struck out the appeal filed by the party. An earlier judgment of a high court in Rivers State barred the party from conducting any primaries in the state in the forthcoming elections. The implication of today's judgment is that the APC in Rivers State may not field candidates for the governorship, National Assembly, as well as the State House of Assembly election. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Amiru Sanusi, the Apex Court held that there is substance in the preliminary objection raised by counsel to Mr. Ibrahim Umar and 22 others that the appeal filed by the APC has become an academic exercise. Our correspondent Amaka Okafor has the rest of the story.
At its last sitting, the Apex Court had reserved judgment in an appeal filed by the All Progressive Congress challenging the jurisdiction of the Bori High Court in Rivers State to hear a suit filed by some aggrieved members of the party and urged the court to evoke Section 22 of the Supreme Court Act to set aside the decision of the court. Counsel to the APC, Lateef Fagbemi, had argued that the suit was not a pre-election matter. His contention was that those who instituted the suit had no locus standi to have done so because they were not aspirants for the primaries. Mr. Ibrahim Umar and 22 others had filed the suit to challenge their unlawful exclusion by a faction of the APC from participating in the Congress of the party designed to produce delegates for the primary elections. The Supreme Court, however, in its judgment, insists that the matter is a pre-election matter and that the said appeal was filed out of time. As such, it is dismissed. Delivering ruling in 3 other related appeals involving Mr. Toye Cole, who was elected at the said primaries, Justice Amina Augie struck out the 3 consolidated appeals on the ground that the appellants have no legs to stand upon. Justice Augie said from the available records of the court, the appellants were not parties at the trial court as well as the Court of Appeal, and as such cannot get remedy from the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court, by the judgments delivered in 4 appeals today, have confirmed the inviolability of the judgment of the High Court of Rivers State, rendered on 10th day of October 2018, in suit number BHC/78/2018.
I think that the court, in its wisdom, has done what they think best in the circumstance. You agree with me that the court premised their ruling in the consolidated appeals. They premised their ruling on the earlier judgment delivered this morning.
The Apex Court has laid to rest the controversies surrounding the order of the Bori High Court, which barred the APC from conducting a convention and primaries in Rivers State. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
And in spite of the Supreme Court judgment which put paid to the participation of the APC in Rivers State, the party held a massive rally today in Port Harcourt, the state capital. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, told party supporters that he is saddened by the court judgment stopping the party from fielding candidates at the election. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ere has this report.
President Muhammadu Buhari touches down at the Port Harcourt International Airport as is received by the governor of Rivers State Nyesom Wike with other government functionaries. He heads to Bayelsa in continuation of his party's presidential campaign.
You know, we are building roads, it has been mentioned. The railway was virtually killed, we are rebuilding it. And there was no power. We are bringing power back. The previous government mentioned on their own that they spent $16 billion American dollars for power. But you are better witnesses than myself. Where is the power?
And then back to Port Harcourt as is received by APC supporters gathered at the Adoke Amesemaka Stadium. The party leaders, including the Director General of the APC Presidential Campaign Organization, lament the consequence of the Supreme Court ruling nullifying the party's primaries in this state.
There is so much effort to prevent our party and award positions without contestation to the PDP. In Zamfara State, we are fighting to have our right of our people to choose who they want. And here in Rivers State, that right seems to have been taken away. But our rights could be frozen. It cannot be detained forever.
APC parties.
For the president, not much can be done about that now, as the party focuses on winning Saturday's election.
I am very, very disturbed by the decision that we are not allowed to participate in some of the processes. I have no doubt I got elected, but I have to respect the institutions that I inherited. I assure you, and I recommend that you should be patient and resolute.
With a couple of days to the D-Day, the APC believes it has done well to win the polls, but the people will decide. Emmanuel Erei, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, an eyewitness account reports that there was a stampede as people tried to force their way out of the stadium. Although our camera did not capture that, 3 women and a man have been confirmed dead, while 4 others are receiving treatment at a hospital in Port Harcourt. It's been a long battle by the factions of the APC in Rivers State to control the structure of the party. Before now, the APC was a united party until crisis set in, leading to several litigations in the court. How did things fall apart?
It has been a long drawn battle between the 2 factions of the APC in Rivers State. Much of it, in the eyes of many, has been from the grouse between the Minister of Transport and the former Governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, and the Senator representing Rivers South East Senatorial District, Magnus Abe. 2 political allies go their different ways, following an over a decade of differences over who to become Governor of Rivers State on the platform of the APC. Sought a successor in Dakuku Peter's side in 2015 and a preferred candidate, Toye Cole, in 2018. Senator Magnus Abe, Senator representing Rivers South East in the Senate, felt he had been left out illegally. And with the failure of the party to find a middle ground, the battle begins in the courts, as well as serving as the arena of a long-drawn legal battle with over 10 appeals before the courts. Perhaps the delisting of the name and the logo of the party by INEC in the elections in Rivers State became the biggest trouble for the party as more legal fireworks continued. And the recent ruling of the Supreme Court nullifying the party's primaries may have given credence to the common saying that a house divided against itself cannot stand. Emmanuel Ire, Channels Television News.
To discuss the Supreme Court judgment on the APC primaries in Rivers State, we're being joined on the news at 10 by a legal practitioner, Mr. Chidozie Okoro. A pleasure having you with us.
Thank you very much.
Now, have you read the Supreme Court judgment regarding APC in Rivers State?
Yes, I have.
So, give us a sense of what this means for both factions of the APC.
Well, the Supreme Court has sent a very clear message to all political actors that impunity has its consequences, so that the rule of law must operate in a democratic society like ours. There are rules and regulations guiding the conduct of political actors in the electoral dispensation, and that parties have to follow this. It's also shown that court orders must be obeyed. If you look at the situation ab initio, there was a court order stating that Congress of the APC should not hold. The APC still went ahead to hold those congresses, and the court also nullified those congresses. The party still went ahead to conduct primaries that by the people that were elected under the Congress. And the courts annulled those primaries. The Federal High Court annulled it by Justice Kolawole, annulled those primaries. Earlier, Justice Nwogo had ordered that the Congress should not hold on the 11th of May, but they still went ahead. Apart from going ahead to hold that Congress, if you could recall, the court was attacked. Properties were burnt and people were killed in court while trying to stop the court from sitting and giving the injunction stopping the Congresses. So the court has sent a very clear message to all political actors that impunity has no place in our democratic system.
Mr. Okoro, you've briefly taken us down memory lane of how all this played out. But do you think that good old dialogue would have solved this problem?
If the party had set up an internal mechanism to resolve issues and called parties to orders and pleaded with parties to calm down while they walk towards victory for the party, this would have worked. If the parties had joined issues in court and tried to resolve the issues in court by accelerated hearing, rather than disobeying the order of the court not to hold the Congress, this situation wouldn't have gotten to this situation.
Well, I know the APC had several reconciliation committees in different states to mend fences after the primaries. Why do you think that didn't work out? It's
the desperation of politicians to get to power. This has been the culture of our political system since 1960, independence. Politicians are desperate, they fight each other, they don't want to listen to anybody to settle. They believe that they would win at all costs. This is a very clear lesson that parties should find an internal mechanism to resolve these issues before they get out of hand. And when issues are in court, parties should obey the orders rather than seek to self-help, resort to self-help. Impunity has its consequences. And now the Supreme Court, being the final arbiter, has buried the hopes of all political aspirants in the APC in Rivers State. No thanks to the ugly fights that had taken part between the parties in the states over who is to be the party's candidate, especially the governorship candidate, where Mr. Tony Cole and Mr. Agnes Abe are both tussling for the ticket.
So definitely there's a lesson here that all the politicians can learn going forward.
There's a very big lesson. The Supreme Court is final. According to Justice Oputa, the Supreme Court is final because it's final not because it's infallible. It's infallible because it is final. So there is no hope for the APC in Rivers State.
I guess that's a good way to end it. Mr. Chidozie Okoro, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much.
In part 2, after the break, the governor of Ogun State, Ibikunle Amosu, advises against rigging the governorship election in the state. Join us again.